tell us a story.
Yes, tell us a story.
Alrighty then, the wind is blowing like crazy. I know you guys probably can't see the trees moving around out there, but they are something else. Whoo-wee, but at least it's not super freezy cold, but I don't know what we're supposed to get in the next couple days. Ohio, who knows? When I was back when I was married in the early 80s, we used to visit relatives, my ex-wife's relatives and stuff like that, and we went to KY, and down there on the side of a mountain across the creek, they had taken a bulldozer up about almost to the peak of the mountain and bulldozed in a section to put a trailer. And onto that trailer they built an extension, and you had to park down off the highway on their property on that side of the creek, cross the creek on a little rickety bridge, walk clear up the mountain, get up to the top of the mountain, and there was the trailer. And they had a dog, and I think they had several dogs. This one dog, it was some type of a Doberman Pinscher mixed maybe, because it was pretty huge for a female. It had a habit of where it had been, went down the mountain and across the creek and up onto the highway, had been hit by a truck or whatever. And I guess it did some really bad damage, and they had to, in its knee hip area, and they had to put a pin in it, and the dog would lay and whine and suck on it with its, it would curl up into a big ball. It looked like a big truck tire laying there, and it would curl up into a ball and suck on that hip. It had a habit of, if it didn't like you, it wouldn't come near you. It wouldn't growl at you, but it wouldn't come near you. But if it liked you, it would, when you were standing, it would come up and grab your hand gently in its mouth, clamp down on it to where you couldn't pull it out, and take you over to the side of this mountain. And it was a mountain. It wasn't a hill, it was a mountain. And it went almost straight down. I mean, you couldn't walk it. You'd have to hang onto the trees to go down this hill. But it would grab a hold of your hand flat, take you over to the side of this hill where there was a big pile of rocks. And then they weren't little rocks. I mean, most of them were kind of flat river rocks or creek rocks and stuff. So they were about a half inch or so thick, but they were about as, big as a pancake. And it would take you over to there and then just stand and look at you and whimper. What it wanted you to do is grab a rock and throw it down over the side of this mountain. The dog would go after you'd throw it, and you could hear this thing crashing through the trees, going through the leaves, and then you could hear it going clatter, clatter on all these river rocks down there that had been washed out from the flood, because the water would go up 10 feet down, up 10 feet down every season. And it would take off down this hill, flying. I mean, I don't understand how it didn't just tumble down. You could just barely look over the hill and see where this dog was going, just through the brush and the briar and the bramble, and just flying down through there. And then you didn't see the dog no more. Well, about 5-10 minutes later, that dog would come back around. It would go down and around and come up this lane, and because it had to go way out around to come back up the hill. There's no way it could climb straight up that hill. And it would come back and around, and it would be carrying that rock. Not a rock. That exact rock that you threw down over the mountain into a pile in this water and river and whatever of hundreds of thousands of other rocks that might have been it. And I probably did this 4 or 5 times before the dog just, it was done, it had enough, and it would bring that rock back up, and it would lay there right next to that pile and chew on that rock. Well, the reason when the dog took your hand in its mouth to lead you to wherever it wanted to go, it didn't really hurt because all of its teeth, every tooth in its head was wore off almost flush to the gum. Its canines, its incisors, everything was just wore off flush. It would lay there and chew and suck and chew on that rock. And I guess that's why it used to chew on where it was wounded from the car accident where the truck had hit it and it had that pin put in its leg. It used to chew and suck on that and massage that pin because it ached it so much. That was the weirdest thing I had ever seen. But it was, I used to pick up a rock and I'd make sure I knew the markings on that rock and I'd throw it and it would come back with that rock. So I don't know whether it was the scent off the rock. I don't know. I just don't know. But that was one of the wildest dogs I had ever seen. I'd met a lot of dogs in my life. We're big dog people and stuff. But it was something else. I can't remember the dog's name. I think it was a person's name like Brenda or something. But anyway, we got to get into the store. We'll go do our thing, put in our day. See ya!
Story time is over!
Damn, that was annoying.